Having received his Doctor of Philosophy, Iqbal returned at the age of 31 to Lahore. Never did he hesitate to return home, contrary to some students of that time. He left England quickly. He was then licensed to practice attorneyship and became a member of Lahore Bar Association. 3 years later, he became a lecturer in philosophy at Lahore University. He resigned after a while to exclusively practice as an attorney. This way, he was able to freely publish his thoughts. He continuously thought about finding a way to awaken Muslims taken captive by colonialism.
ये देखिए मगरिब में कैम्ब्रिज या ऑक्सफोर्ड जैसी यूनिवर्सिटियां क्या थे दरअसल क्या थे ये तो
Cambridge and Oxford were originally like monasteries where people were trained as Sufis.
तैयार करते थे सूफीज्म कहते हैं मगरिब से
I mean, it was the West who gave us Sufism, something derived from Christianity.
monasteries ये monasteries थी.
Those monasteries were later turned into universities.
Henry VI के Henry VII के ज़माने में ये
Faculties built there during the reign of Henry VI and Henry VII are quite similar to churches.
कलीसे से ही यूनिवर्सिटी बनी.
It means a religious school was turned into a university, something we failed to do. None of our universities today is teaching our time sciences.
कई मिसाल ऐसी दें जहाँ पे मदरसे में यूनिवर्सिटी के तौर पर साइंस पढ़ाई जाती हो.
پسر ایشون آقای جاوید اقبال
Javid Iqbal's words that about 65 years after his death, Muhammad Iqbal has not fully become known to people is something interesting. Muhammad Iqbal himself asserted the fact that he wouldn't be fully known to those who read his poems. In one of his poems, he says, "When I leave this world to go to the other world, everyone says he was an acquaintance of mine, sorrily. But no one is able to come to know who the passenger was, what he said, to whom he said, and from where he was."
A quick glance at Iqbal's academy will possibly reveal better his poetic concept. Quite diligent, Iqbal Academy is a cultural center trying to disseminate Iqbal's thoughts among social strata, particularly young people. But we may ask how successful it would be.
Iqbal Academy जो है वो
Iqbal Academy was established in 1953. The academy, still active, was first based in Karachi, but later it moved to Lahore. The academy's purpose was primarily the dissemination of Iqbal's thoughts and poems. Of course, in proportion to conditions governing the society and long-term effects of those thoughts on the addressee's mind.
As far as the Iqbal Academy is concerned, we are basically trying to promote Iqbal's thoughts in literature.
Currently, Iqbal Academy has many activities regarding Iqbal's works. So far, many analyses and descriptions have been published in this regard.
We are publishing Iqbal's poems, philosophical writings, works, and books related to his life. His lectures on philosophy, for instance, a lecture titled Reconstruction of Religious Thought, have been translated into various languages.
Every book is a reservoir of secrets, an outcome of the writer's lifelong search and experience. It is published to tell the reader the writer's experience, the events and accidents of his life, and hopefully to open a nut in the life of the reader. Now, I am sincerely scattering the outcome of my lifelong search among the people at home, among all those who are making efforts towards man's greatness. I am sure someday I will see man's greatness. Let me be ransom for him who has seen himself and has weighed well the present age. The Westerners can have their magic tricks. To rely on other than oneself is infidelity. I talked simply only to accompany the underdog, to be sincere to them for a while. I did not, though, get satisfied as they did, and therefore composed my poems in a hope to enjoy a better life someday.
जैसा कि मैं पहले बता चुका हूँ कि इकबाल अकेडमी पाकिस्तान दुनिया की सबसे जदीद
Pakistan's Iqbal's Academy Library is one of the world's largest libraries containing all Iqbal's works.
दुनिया के हर खित्ते में शाये होने वाली किसी भी किस्म
Here we try to have a copy of the world's literature on Iqbal.
की कोशिश की जाती है और इस
Right now, every work related to Iqbal, whether translated or in the original language, can be found in the library.
याद के हवाले से वो हमारे यहाँ तकरीबन सारी मौजूद है
इकबाल क्या है?
Who is Iqbal? Iqbal's personality is too comprehensive and immense to be described in limited sentences. The shortest possible thing to say in this regard is something like this. Iqbal is the cornerstone of our national culture and history.
Iqbal has an omniscient personality. He is the cultural mind of South Asian Muslims. He is the heart of Muslims.
इसका मतलब क्या है?
What does it mean? It means that Iqbal is a historical personality of Muslims. He connects various Muslim tribes together. Iqbal connects our past to our future. While talking, Iqbal has one hand on Islam's foundation, namely revelation, namely God's message to Muhammad, peace be upon him, on the Prophet's personality, and his other hand rests on our future, mapping our future way.
Iqbal does his best to make a culture suitable for us. A culture based on science, ethics, aesthetics, and common sense. He is searching for concepts we need. All those concepts are found in Iqbal's works. All of them are accessible to us.
Let me show you, first of all, the book Bells Cry. To keep them sound and safe, we have laminated the book's pages. Lamination prevents the book from decaying through the passage of time.
Iqbal Academy staff have prepared photocopies of Iqbal's manuscripts in their attempt to keep his work intact. Iqbal expresses his worry about Muslims, and his poems show clearly his deep understanding of Muslims' problems. In Iqbal's works, we see such notions as returning to self, understanding enemies' tricks, relying on self, unity, and campaigning against foreigners and the like. These notions are supposed to solve Muslim problems, and if such notions had been fully known, Muslims would not have observed so many difficulties today.
Iqbal sees the Muslim world a world of distress and distraction. It is a world with no coherence, a world always running away from itself.
God asks his servant, "What is it that satisfies you?" I am pursuing your satisfaction. Iqbal sees man as God's cooperator. This is the philosophy of self. At Iqbal's time, Muslims had gone too far towards decline. So such a philosophy was greatly needed. People had to be moved. As of today, they haven't changed dramatically. Though we had seen the rise of such men like Imam Khomeini, we are still so far from the goal Iqbal had in mind.
It's a world wherein everyone minds his own business. In all Islamic societies, there are a few people thinking the same way.
I believe that Muslims are as they were, on decline. This is the case everywhere. Just have a look at Syria and see how Saudi Arabia is helping the United States.
بنابراین او دنبال وحدتی هست که این دنیای پریشیده رو به هم
Iqbal is seeking a unity that can connect the components of this agitated world.
قضیه کاملا مشهوده و برای اینکه بتونه
All his works reflect this train of thought. To make such a unity possible among Muslims, Iqbal gives examples in prose and poetry. He says in the old times, our land could produce great men, great generals and great leaders. Why is it that we are unable to do that today?
To us, Iqbal is a spring of our cultural institutes, a spring of our social life institutes. The spring tells us how to enter the new era and how to find our future way. If our steps forward do not separate us from our roots, we might be stable in following God's revelation. Iqbal is able to guide us on our way, to go in a straight way. As you see, Iqbal is a firm basis, not for the Islamic community alone, but also for the whole Indian subcontinent as well.
बल्कि पूरी मिल्लत इस्लामिया का असास है.
Little flower fast asleep, rise, Narcissus-like, and peep. Lo, the bower droops and dies, wasted by cold griefs, arise. Now that bird song fills the air, and muezzins call to prayer, listen to the burning sighs of the passionate hearts and cries. Out of leaden sleep, out of slumber deep, arise. Out of slumber deep, arise.